Before your gut ever protests with bloating, gas, or stubborn weight gain, it may already be under silent siege. High-fat meals, especially those heavy in saturated fats and low in fiber, initiate a cascade of microscopic changes in the gut that precede any outward signs of dysfunction. This early cellular damage, invisible to you but very real to your gut lining, is where inflammation often begins. It's the biological equivalent of a fire smoldering behind the wall. By the time you smell smoke, structural damage is already well underway. The process kicks off mere hours after consumption. Once a high-fat meal enters the digestive tract, fat molecules interact with gut epithelial cells and immune cells embedded in the intestinal lining. Saturated fats in particular stimulate toll-like receptors, TLRs, on these cells, especially TLR4, which interprets them as danger signals. That might sound strange. Why would your body treat a cheeseburger like a pathogen? But from an evolutionary standpoint, large boluses of saturated fat are rare in natural diets, so the immune system treats them with suspicion. This sets off a local inflammatory response. Cytokines like TNF-alpha and IL-6 are released, and immune cells such as macrophages are recruited, not to deal with a virus or bacteria, but to address your snack. Simultaneously, tight junction proteins, the molecular zip ties holding your gut barrier together, begin to loosen. Zonulin, a protein that regulates permeability, is upregulated in response to inflammation and dietary fat. This causes microscopic openings between epithelial cells, compromising the gut barrier's ability to keep microbial fragments and toxins like lipopolysaccharides, LPS, contained within the gut lumen. With these breaches, bacterial byproducts start slipping into the bloodstream, triggering low-grade systemic inflammation, long before you feel sick, tired, or bloated. This cellular distress isn't just a local issue, it changes the behavior of the gut microbiota itself. Certain microbes thrive in a fat-rich environment, but not the ones you want hosting your internal dinner party. High-fat diets promote the growth of gram-negative bacteria that shed LPS, a major culprit in endotoxemia. Over time, this shifts your microbiome from one that produces beneficial compounds like short-chain fatty acids, which reduce inflammation, to one that favors fermentation of fats and proteins into inflammatory metabolites. Essentially, your gut microbiota starts working against you. What's most deceptive is how this all unfolds without immediate symptoms. There's no stomach alarm that goes off when your epithelial cells begin to degrade, no urgent signal when pro-inflammatory cytokines begin to accumulate. You may feel completely fine while your intestinal immune balance is quietly unraveling. The mucosal immune system doesn't scream, it whispers. And by the time you hear it, the damage has often snowballed. Early effects include subclinical inflammation, increased intestinal permeability, leaky gut, microbial imbalance, and epithelial stress, all of which are reversible at first. But repeated exposure to high-fat meals trains the gut toward chronic low-grade inflammation. Eventually, this leads to more obvious consequences: insulin resistance, bloating, metabolic slowdown, mood disturbances, and in some people, the triggering of autoimmune or inflammatory bowel conditions. And now, an appropriately grim warning for those who believe a little indulgence never hurt. Your gut is basically taking one for the team every time you eat like a Viking after a famine. If your meals regularly resemble a meat and dairy parade with a fiber float nowhere in sight, you're not just treating yourself, you're drafting your intestinal cells into a long, losing war against inflammation. You may not see the battle scars yet, but make no mistake, the war has already started at the cellular level. The first casualties are silent. The symptoms come later, and they rarely RSVP.